Halloween parade, bro. It's like the one night of the year where we fit in. Cool.
Get back here. What part of moving the shadows don't you understand?
I've never seen anything like this before.
Guys, I got a lead on what's going on.
Sensei Shredder.
This what I was building on.
This is gonna be good! You're a rhinoceros!
And you're a...
Huh. I'm a little piggy.
Whoa, whoa.
Hey, fellas!
What's your name?
Casey Jones.
Hey.
You two guys like a thing? If the purple ooze can turn humans into animals,
It's on, baby!
it could turn us into humans. And we don't have to be stuck down here forever.
If there's a chance that'd make us human,
We're turtles, whether you like it or not. Gear up, guys.
this isn't working!
We keep failing. Keep the team unified, and you shall always succeed.
Here we go!
Let's light them up.
Go, go, go! I don't know if this is such a good plan!
Don't go getting soft on me now. Oh, this is awesome!
Yes, 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 yes!
Is it coming in kind of fast? Well, that went well.
Here's your water. Oh, I'm going back.
All of you, I want to start this by saying, are responsible for many of my Amazon orders of supplying my child with Ninja Turtle gear. So I want to go around and ask each of you, because some of you are new to the movie, some of you were with the first one, what drew each of you to this project?
Well, who's his favorite turtle? Who's his favorite turtle? Ooh, don't screw this.
I think Michelangelo, actually.
There he is, right there. Okay, good.
Because he calls it, he and Mikey are like, yeah, you know, he totally talks about Mikey like he actually hangs out with Mikey.
Okay.
So let's start with you, sir.
Sorry, Pete.
My name is Brad Fuller. I have a production company with Andrew Form and Michael Bay. And we made a lot of horror movies for a long time, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of brought us out of the shadows and into the light. And this was the first action comedy movie that we did. Well, thank you. Thank you.
But the story is deeper. You know, Brad had 2 young children at the time we were making the horror films, and they were all R-rated, and the kids weren't able to see the movies. And I think what you didn't say is your kids said, "Dad, when are you going to make a movie that we can see?" And you came to me like, you know, we have to come out of the darkness here. It's time to go into the light. And Viacom had purchased the rights for Ninja Turtles. And Michael, our partner, was directing Transformers at the time. And we lobbied hard. We wanted to bring these guys back to the big screen. We felt like with the technology today, it really gave the movie a reason to exist. It's been comic books and cartoons, and then the Jim Henson puppets in the 1990 movie. And you know, with motion capture, with these great actors right here, we were able to bring the Turtles to the big screen in a totally new way. So we lobbied hard, and here we are, luckily talking about the sequel.
And you, part of the Bale of Turtles.
Right.
I'm sorry, I had to use that.
I'm Pete Ploszek. I play Leonardo. As an actor, to come on board, to have this opportunity to try and fill these shoes of a franchise that's already established and already has fans through generations at this point, it's a dream come true.
And you were with the first one.
Yeah, absolutely.
All 3 of the Turtles here were.
Yep.
I'm Dave Green. I'm the director.
The director.
This is my first voyage with the Turtle family, and I was just privileged to have met Brad and Andrew when they were in prep, and I kind of expressed to them my fandom, you know, because I grew up on the cartoons and just was a massive Turtles fan as a kid. Yeah.
Dave Green came in dressed like a turtle for his first meeting.
Wait, which one? Which turtle?
I was always a Donatello guy.
Okay, all right.
He's right there. You can get his autograph.
Okay, Mikey, your turn.
My name is Noel Fisher. I play Michelangelo, and I actually came on board. When I found out I got to do this, I was a huge fan growing up. I had a lot of the toys. I had the Krang Dome, which was kind of cool to get to see in the movie this time. It's a lot cooler in the movie than the old toy used to be. But yeah, it's one of those dreamish kind of moments where you're like, oh, whoa, I get to literally play an action figure that I was playing. I had a lot of prep, is what I'm saying. I've been practicing for the part for a very long time.
You were very familiar with character development, is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yes,
Yes.
extraordinarily.
Okay.
My name's Josh Appelbaum. I'm one of the writers. And yeah, I was working at Paramount at the time, and these guys came to my writing partner, Andre, and myself, and asked if we'd be interested in bringing the Turtles back to life. And it was the comic books I grew up on, the original 90s movies I was a huge fan of. So like Noel saying, the opportunity to sort of dive into your childhood and open up that toy chest and start creating stories and imagining how to bring them, you know, to the next generation. It was something we couldn't pass up, and it was an amazing experience.
Top that.
I can't top that. My name is Jeremy Howard. I play Donatello. I was always a huge fan of the Turtles when we went to see the film as a family in 1990. I just became obsessed. I got all the toys, watched the cartoons. From then on, I was hooked. So to be a part of this was a dream, and guys like Drew and Brad really respect the franchise a lot, and to be a part of this Turtle world and just kind of continuing it forward's an absolute privilege.
And I know there's obviously a lot of special effects and CGI in this movie, but the three of you guys, the actors, you really infuse the Turtles with personality, and you make them very distinct. How did each of you approach the characters?
It's not CGI. We're that good. That's just us. No.
I think with Leo, Leo's biggest task is keeping the brotherhood together and keeping them a family. And what was so fun to explore in this movie, Out of the Shadows, is how does the Boy Scout and the do-gooder and the guy who's always by the book, what do you do when you have to go off book? When the threat is so global and so great that you can't always rely on those systems and those practices. So it was fun to sort of explore Leo at his breaking point of when he drops the good guy act and tells his brothers, how it really is and how he really feels. And so that's how I was able to sort of, I think, move Leo forward, flesh him out a little bit three-dimensionally, and just play off these guys.
Yeah, and I think as far as the what you're talking about, as far as the motion capture and the technology in this film is that much higher and more advanced than what we had in the first one, and you're able to see the nuances, the subtleties, and the emotions that the animators can then translate from the actor's performance and really make those turtles come alive. And you can see the detail, again, the nuances and some of the small reactions that characters have in the film. I think audiences are going to be pretty stoked to see that on a turtle face. You can't get that in a rubber suit. You haven't seen it in cartoons, but this is just something you've never experienced before in the turtle world, and we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's kind of the technology really allows you to see a soul in a way that you haven't been able to in any other incarnation of these kind of characters, and the soul is kind of what's really held this together for generations of fans anyway. So now you get to actually see it in a much more, it's like a live action. They look like they're there.
That's exactly right. And we were talking backstage about the tone of the movie and how different it is, and how, I feel like the first one, I would not have taken my kid, who at that point was 4 or 3, I don't even remember, it's all a blur, to see. But this one is actually very, very kid-friendly without sacrificing the sophistication. So how did you guys tackle the tone of the film?
Well, we had always struggled with the tone on movie one throughout production, throughout development, and in post-production. I think when we set out to make that movie, it was an origin story for the Turtles. It was a human story. The Turtles don't show up till 18 minutes into that movie. We follow April O'Neil. We get to know her. She introduces us to the Turtles. And I think we were really straddling the line between the darkness of those comics that originally created the Turtles and the cartoon, which was fun. And we never really picked a side. We straddled that line, and in that movie, like you say, it was somewhat dark. So and when Paramount came to us and said, we want another one, we said, you know what, guys, we went to Josh and Andre, and we're like, we really have to pick a tone. Before we even talk about what the story of this movie is going to be, who's in it, we knew the Turtles were coming back, but anyone else, let's pick the tone and let's go there. And we ran to the cartoon and said, that's the tone of this movie. And there's very subtle things that, you might notice in the movie. Like in movie 1, the Foot Clan have guns. In movie 2, they have swords. Like they're ninjas. And we went through everything with the writers and said, okay, this is our tone of the movie and this is where we're gonna live. And we went for it on this movie. I mean, you've seen the film, it's a very light family film, and that's really what we wanted. And really fun for everybody, 5-year-olds all the way to 80. Really wanted to make a movie everyone could enjoy.
You can be 90 and enjoy the film as well.
Sorry, I did not want to stop
You've
at
excluded
80.
the
Sorry.
above 80 crowd, and I just...
As Sensei Splinter would say, is it so sad that I know all the characters and I know everything about this series?
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful
It's actually
thing.
wonderful.
Dave, how did you approach directing something of this size? Because this is your first foray into turtledom.
This is true. Yeah. It was a giant movie, and we had a great team of producers and stuntmen, and on the technical side. So I felt really supported on that end. I think for me and for Josh and Andre, the writers, and for the cast, our North Star every day was these characters, and I felt this immense comfort in just knowing, having grown up on the cartoons and reading those comics and loving them as a kid, I just felt like that was the cushion every single day. So that guided us.
I guess for me, if I had to make a movie of something that I really, really loved as a kid, I would be terrified and daunted and probably chicken out. How did each of you not feel that way?
Well, our company has made a lot of remakes of movies that we loved as kids, mainly the horror movies, but like Amityville Horror and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Friday the 13th. So we're used to the scrutiny that comes with that, and at the same time, I think having that experience of going through it on those titles, we were able to kind of figure out a way that we could integrate the best parts about the cartoon or the comic or whatever it is, and working with Josh and Andre, create a story that we hope satisfied everyone.
Now, you, sir, as a writer,
Yes.
how did you come up with the story specifically? Because the message really is one of acceptance, and these turtles have the possibility to become human, but they, I don't want to give it away, but they're turtles.
Right. It was, and that really became, for us, the guiding principle of the movie was, to us, the Turtle franchise has always been about two things. One of it is family and brotherhood, and the other one is, this idea of being an outsider and feeling like a freak, which is such a relatable thing for everybody, particularly when you're a teenager, feeling like you don't fit in, feeling like you want to fit in. So when we came up with this idea of the Turtles having the opportunity to become human, it felt like now we knew what the movie was about, and now let's have everything kind of reflect and refract off of that. And a lot of the other characters' storylines in the movies are about, not being who they are. We have Bebop and Rocksteady getting turned into a warlock and a rhino. We have Vern, Will Arnett's character, getting credit for having saved the city in the first movie, even though he really didn't. So once you have an idea like that, it's easy to sort of let everything else kind of grow from that.
I remember the first thing you called Drew, and you called us, and you said, we know what the movie's about. And I said, what? And you said, let your freak flag fly.
Exactly.
That was the first thing you said to me, and that's kind of what it is for all the characters.
Yeah.
And really, you guys have done more for the appreciation of rats, I think, than anyone else, given that Sensei Splinter
Except for Pizza
is
Rat.
more for the appreciation of rats than anyone
you go.
else, given that Sensei Splinter is a rat. For each of you, what has been a crazy superfan experience? Because I'm sure you guys have all had your brush with
Well,
my son and his friends or versions thereof.
He has the most amazing story.
So
Hit me.
coming. So people ask all the time, best on-set experience, crazy on, like what happened on the set? Give me something crazy, you know, in these two movies. And one day, the opening scene of the movie happens in Madison Square Garden. We shot a New York Knicks game. They were playing the LA Clippers, and you know, we spent some time with the NBA players, and a lot of them love the Turtles. A lot of them have kids. Season ends. We happen to be filming in the Turtle Lair in Brooklyn, and a player reaches out and says, "I'd love to bring my kids by. They love the Turtles." I said, "Great, come down." And we're in the Turtle Lair, which you've seen in the movie. We built the entire set. There was no blue screen at all. It's a real set. And he comes in with his twin 6-year-old boys, and we're walking through this armory in Brooklyn. And as we're getting close to the set, which you can clearly see as a set, there's plywood, you can see lights, you see everything. He grabs me by the shoulder and he says, "My kids think the Turtles are real." And I'm staring at him. And he's wearing his ILM suit with the cameras and the helmet, and these 6-year-old boys are on the move. And I ran right up to Noel, and I'm like, "The kids behind me think the Turtles are real. You're Mikey's stunt double. They're out fighting crime. Spread the word." And we went on the set with these boys, and they were lifting manhole covers, looking underneath to see where the Turtles were. And I took out Leonardo's katana. We had the props, and I let them hold the katana. I gave them Jeremy's bow staff. We gave them the nunchucks. And those kids, even though from the outside they knew it was a fake set, to them the Turtles were still real. And they were looking for them. Even when they left, they were like, "Daddy, are they back yet? You know, where are they?" And for me, that was everything. You know, and to me, I don't know how you top that on-set experience.
That's pretty magical.
On that note, and it's a testament.
Who's gonna top it?
I'm not. I'm totally not. Yeah, and that's what I want to speak on is how a testament to the design of this whole movie, and just the number of people involved. As an actor, and I think I speak for the Turtles, being in that world, stepping onto that set, the amount of detail. I mean, we had a kitchen that was fully functional. The fridge was stocked. Our beds were
with Crush.
With
or Mikey.
You know, Leo's bed was always made. Mikey's bed was never made. And we had all these details to work off of that just helped us bring these guys to life. It does. Living in such a living, breathing environment does a lot of the work for you, which is so amazing that, you know, these guys, as producers, as filmmakers, writers, you guys are so all in. And I think that helps us tell this story.
Why do you think that this is so enduring? Because, I mean, I remember when I was little, they were popular. Now they're popular with my son's generation. It's crazy. I mean, you really can't find a lot of characters that kind of transcend generations, really. I mean, I'm only 22, so I'm, you know.
Well, you know what? It's the only superhero franchise that's about a family. I mean, there's other ones, it's about a family, you know, group of superheroes come together and form a family, but these guys grew up together, they're brothers, and that's something that everybody could relate to, and those dynamics that everybody could relate to.
Well, and they're teenagers.
Right. We've all been teenagers, or we're going there.
We never grow up.
Everyone can see themselves in one turtle or another, and again, people love heroes.
That's a great answer.
I don't. I love villains.
How do you, when you have a story of this scope, how do you come up with the storyline?
It was, you know, we piled all of our favorite villains into this movie. So it was intimidating at first to try to make it all happen. But, you know, the great thing that Eastman and Laird did in their universe was all these villains work together. You know, Krang's sort of at the top, and then there's Shredder, who's got Baxter, Bebop, Rocksteady. So knowing that all the villains wanted the same thing, and were sort of, it was this crazy chain of command, but that they're all working together, that certainly made it, you know, easy to simplify the bad guy plot. And again, you know, having these guiding principles of theme of, you know, the Turtles wanting to fit in, not fit in, that whole thing, that just allowed everything to coalesce pretty easily. And I also say, we talked about the action set pieces too that we wanted to do, and the kind of things that we wanted to do that would be different from the first movie, hopefully different than things anybody's ever seen before, and sort of knowing what those were going to be, and knowing that we were driving towards them, that was really helpful as well.
And the action in the movie is it's great, and it's also very funny. Which of the set pieces was the most challenging for you guys to come up with and to shoot?
Gosh.
Well, when we were developing movie one very early on, before there was even a script, Josh and Andre had given us the snow chase, where the turtles were on
I remember the snow chase,
right.
yeah.
So they had come to us, and because we'd always said, all right, well, with this technology, we can do crazy things with these turtles. He's like, well, how about we put them on their backs in the snow going down a mountain? I was like, now that's cool. So they wrote that scene before they even wrote the script. The movie comes out, people love the snow chase scene. And one of the first things we talked about was, okay, how you gonna top the snow chase? He's like, well, maybe the turtles are gonna jump from a plane, put a plane down in a river, go over the falls. And they started working on that scene very early on. I mean, we started pre-visiting that scene like a year and a half or 2 years ago, the Brazil scene. So I think that's the scene that got the most attention. But I'd say as far as filming, that Shredder convoy scene, with the prison transport, was 11 nights of filming on a highway in Buffalo. And a lot of cars, a lot of wrecks, a lot of motorcycles. I mean, helicopters, 2 helicopters, one in the movie, one filming, and everything in the scene is real except for the turtles. And we really set out in this movie to not have CGI environments. So when you see the snow chase in movie one, the mountain is also CG. We were unable to shoot plates of a real mountain for the snow. In this movie, we were able to shoot everything real except for the turtles.
Why was that so important to you?
Because when you put CG characters in a CG environment, it's hard to make it look real. But when you see our Brazil sequence, every shot is real. That river is real, those falls, when they're flying in the air and pull their chutes, that's all real footage, and we just put a turtle in there. And everything in the convoy, those are real trucks, real helicopters, that's a real turtle truck. And then you put the turtles in, and suddenly everything you're seeing is real except for your 4 guys. And I think it really lets you suspend, the disbelief there, and you can really just go into the story and not even think about it. But we really set out early, like, no CG environments in this movie.
And now it's time for our audience portion. So ask these guys anything. Well, almost anything.
Hey guys, I actually saw the movie premiere yesterday, and I really enjoyed it. Really brought back my childhood. So thank you guys for that.
Awesome.
So my question is actually for all you guys. What did you guys learn from the first film that helped, when it came to shooting the sequel?
I know one thing as a writer, seeing these guys in the first movie, their performance in the first movie, it inspired us to go deeper with the turtle characters, and knowing, and between their performance and what ILM did to sort of, turn their performance into turtles, it released any fear we had of giving them more nuance, giving them more character interactions, because we knew these guys were terrific, could pull it off, and then ILM could bring it to life, in the form of turtles.
And I think what was fantastic, thank you, by the way, that was very kind of you, to be, to have him, then the writers come in and write great scenes for the turtles. I mean, we have the scenes that we all get to have together. I mean, we were acting, like we were doing a normal movie. This is a CG blockbuster film, so, generally people kind of sideline acting, but we had actual scenes together, which we rehearsed, we worked on for weeks, and they really came together, and you really saw a lot of emotion and pathos in these guys, and that changed for us. It was just a lot more depth between the first one and the second one, and I think fans are going to really eat that up.
Next question.
Good afternoon. Really quick. Thank you so much for also being here. I learned so much as a director myself and as a horror film addict. How did you approach this telling a story? Because I did my first feature and I kind of goofed directing because I wasn't telling the story. How did you approach telling a story through a director's vision, and then how did your cast and your producers fall in line with that, with such a CG, like you said, blockbuster film that everybody's, shots, effects, but it really goes down to storytelling as a writer as well.
Yeah, because if there's no story, there's no movie, ultimately.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, at the core of Ninja Turtles, Ninja Turtles has always been a character-driven franchise. It's really about those brothers and the way they connect or the way they fall apart. So that was really the primary focus for me every single day was, are we telling the story of who these characters are and what's the beginning, middle, and end of each scene? So yeah, that was kind of the guiding principle.
Next question, please.
Hey guys, I got a chance to also work as an extra in one of the scenes in the movie, which was awesome, and I was really happy that you guys shot again in New York. What was the decision to come back and shoot in New York, and how was that like returning to the city?
Gotta shoot in New York. They're the Ninja Turtles, man.
I mean, it wasn't even a question that, I mean, when they came to us to do the sequel, I mean, the boys are from New York, and in movie one, I didn't feel like we had filmed New York well. And we really wanted another crack at it. So when we came back for movie two, you know, Josh and Andre, we even talked about this. We're like, we want to really feel New York City. We want New York City to be a character in this movie. And then sure enough, the opening scene of the movie is them on the Chrysler Building, Madison Square Garden, Grand Central Station, Times Square, Liberty Island.
It was amazing. I mean, God bless Andrew and Brad, because again, as writers, and Andre and I are from New York, and so we were like, let's see if we could do a scene at Madison Square Garden. Andrew, Brad, can we do a scene at Madison Square Garden? They're like, hell yeah, we're doing a scene at Madison Square Garden.
We're like, let's check the next schedule. Who's coming in?
Right, exactly.
I mean, can you imagine the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Vancouver?
Right,
Like, come on.
No way. Cortlandt Alley and Tribeca. That's
Totally.
where they live.
Statue of Liberty, all of it. Yeah, it was a dream.
And
Yeah,
last,
and
sorry.
every direction you point the camera in New York is just, you know, incredible depth and texture and reality, and I think that also helps, you know, ILM, our visual effects artists, kind of rise to the challenge of integrating the turtles into a real world. So it's a privilege to shoot here.
And you can't beat the pizza here.
Amen.
We're going to take our last question from an online viewer. So Jordan would like to know, what was it like to work with Seamus on set?
He's huge. He's really, really large. He's like
I-
3 of me.
I remember meeting Seamus and Gary, who plays Bebop, at the same time at the Hayden Planetarium, actually. And first time I'd met them, and as soon as they opened their mouths, like, you got it, and you saw Rocksteady, and you saw Bebop, and that was an exciting thing, because you see that sort of human incarnation, and to then think that these are the guys who are going to bring them to life. It was an exciting moment, because that's when I knew this was heading in the right direction. This was going to be a pretty exciting character duo. And to your guys' credit, you guys really did them justice. I mean, they're unforgettable in this.
He's also a guy who always showed up on the set with a smile. And he always wanted to be there, and no matter what, was smiling. And to the point where there's a scene where he's transforming, and we're in the TCRI offices, and there's a cart with metal canisters on it, and he's becoming the rhinoceros, and he swings his arm, and he hits one of the metal canisters, which are 30 pounds apiece, with his forearm. And we're like, I call him Steven. I'm like, dude, we'll put rubber ones in for you. You don't have to hit the metal ones. And he's like, no, you're coming the rhino, got to do this. And I'm like, and he just kept doing it. And he's probably the strongest man I've ever met in my life.
He could take down Shredder, no problem, if he wanted to.
Yeah, but he's missing this. That's the problem. And they throw haymakers. They can't even land a punch. They're strong, but they're sloppy.
Well, the movie opens June 3rd. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.